Hey there, you're listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion. Here's your host, RJ Carbone.
And a high drive into left center field. Stanley's going to watch another one fly. Are you kidding me? DiVincenzo a three. Bang! Bang! Knicks take a
Take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
At the wall. See ya! See ya! See ya! Mr. Nova.
Anthony for three. Bang! That one goes down and the game is tied.
Rose, you shook up the world again.
I did it again. My God did it, man. I really just had
Gonna have to. Brunson running away. Oh my! He has been the best player to put on that uniform.
Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
All right. Sorry about that. Welcome to the show. Welcome back. Episode 880 of the podcast. And the New York Yankees took 2 out of 3. Back home against the Oakland A's, or whatever you want to call them. The Yanks took 2 out of 3. They won the first game in a pretty close game. They got embarrassed in the second game in an ugly showing. And then in the third game today on Sunday, they embarrassed the A's for most of the game. So they take 2 out of 3. It's a nice bounce back series after what happened in Cincinnati. Obviously, you end that Cincinnati series with a win. But you come back home and you win 2 more to make it 3 out of 4 overall for the Yankees. They've won 2 of their last 3 series, so hopefully they can start winning consecutively again. And we can all calm down about this Yankees team, who remain in first place after their win and Tampa's loss. So the Yankees go back up by 2 games in the loss column over Tampa. But let's talk about this series against the A's. Talk about Friday's game. We'll talk about Saturday's game. We'll talk about today's game. Starting with Friday's game, which the Yankees won 3-0. You had the righty Will Warren going up against the righty Mitch Spence. The Yankees scored 3 runs in the game on 4 hits, 3 singles, 5 walks, 7 strikeouts, and they went 2 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Against Spence, they scored 3 runs in 5 innings that he pitched. Jazz Chisholm, solo home run, bottom of the second. He ended up going 1 for 4. Bottom 3, you got Cody Bellinger, an RBI single. He goes 2 for 4 in the day. Bottom 4, DJ LeMahieu with an RBI single. He finishes 1 for 3. Will Warren pitched very well. We will talk about him a little bit later in this show. And then he handed it over to the bullpen after 5. The bullpen goes 4 innings. Nobody scores on them. Tim Hill got the 6th. 1 inning, no runs, 1 hit, a strikeout. Gets the hold. Fernando Cruz got the 7th. 1 inning, no runs, no base runners, 1 strikeout, gets a hold. Weaver got the 8th. 1 inning, no runs, no base runners, a strikeout, gets the hold. And Devin Williams continues to look good. He got the 9th inning. 1 inning, no runs, no base runners, 1 strikeout, gets the save. Gets the save to secure a 3-0 win on Friday. That was really it from that game. Again, we will talk about Will Warren in a bit. Saturday was not fun. The Yankees dropped this one 7-0 to Oakland. Sacramento, whatever. The righty Clark Schmidt took the mound against the former Yankee prospect, left-hander J.P. Sears. Yankees don't score a single run. No runs, 3 hits, all of them singles, 5 walks, 7 strikeouts. They grounded into 2 double plays, and they were 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position. Against Sears, no runs in 5 2/3, and then the Athletic pen threw 3 1/3 shutout. Goldie was 1 for 4. Belly was 1 for 3 with a walk. LeMahieu was 1 for 2 with a walk. That was your lone offense. That was it. Clark Schmidt won 6 innings, 4 runs, 4 hits, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, 2 home runs allowed, 85 pitches, and he gets the loss. Clark Schmidt was not good. Started out pretty good. He looked good for a bit. Top of the 4th inning, poor location, hanging sweeper to Brent Rooker, hits a solo home run. And then top of the 6th, more poor location. When he lost the zone with his cutter, he walked Butler and Wilson to lead off the inning. Bunch of cutters outside the zone. And then he throws a cutter running in to Kurtz, who drills it for a 3-run home run to put the A's up 4-0. So that was really it for Clark Schmidt. Not a good outing, but again, he keeps the Yankees in the game. And the Yankee bullpen was not much better. 3 innings, 3 runs. Hamilton got the 7th, 1 inning, no runs, 2 base runners. Winans got the 8th and 9th, 2 innings, 3 runs allowed, 5 base runners he put on, strikes out 2. But yeah, that was your 7-0 loss to the Oakland A's. Sunday, today, thankfully the Yankees bounced back with a 12-5 win when you had the righty Marcus Stroman make his return to face the former Yankee right-hander Luis Severino. Stroman's back after the Yankees phantom DL'd him for a bit to keep him under that 140 innings mark so they don't have to pay him an extra year. Smart by them. Hopefully this is a start that we see more of and he can increase his trade value and maybe get the Yankees a relief pitcher that Matt Blake can do magic on. But he was fine. He was so. He only had 1 strikeout in this game. So, listen, with the stuff that he has, he's not going to fool batters. But he got the Yankees through 5 innings. 5 innings, 1 run, 3 hits. One of them was a home run. Walks 2, 74 pitches, gets the win. It was classic Marcus Stroman where pitches to contact, but stayed outside the zone, kept it off the barrel, and he kept the Yankees in the game. So it's all you can ask for. Was using his slider, slurve, sweeper, whatever the freak you want to call it at this point. Used it effectively. As long as he stays away from his fastball and he's outside the zone with his breaking pitches, I'm good. So good for him. The bullpen, 4 innings, 4 runs, because JT Brubaker is, in my book, just as bad as that random Alan Winans. This guy sucks. He was an absolute atrocity. The Yankees haven't had a good mop-up man since, like, Luis Cessa. And this loser, Brubaker, goes a third of an inning, lets up 4 runs on 2 hits, 3 walks, doesn't strike out anybody because he couldn't get more than 1 out. After him, it was fine. Loaizaga, Hill, Hamilton, Weaver, they all throw scoreless innings. But the story of this game was the Yankee bats. The Yankee bats erupted for 12 runs on 9 hits, 5 of them for extra bases, 8 walks. That was good to see. 9 strikeouts, and they were 3 for 10 with runners in scoring position, which was enough. Against Severino, they got 7 runs on him. They tagged him for 6 earned runs in 3 2/3. This guy wants to open his mouth and yap about the Yankees only having 2 hitters. Since then, the Yankees have hammered him in his 2 starts against them. Bottom 2, Jazz Chisholm with a solo bomb to put the Yanks up 1-0. Bottom 3, Jazz Chisholm, a bases clearing triple, 3-run score. He ends up scoring the next at-bat on a wild pitch. And then bottom 4, Judge with a 2-run home run to center field, 7-0 Yanks all of a sudden. And then against the Athletic bullpen, they got 5 more runs in 4 1/3. Bottom 5, Bellinger with a 3-run shot off the lefty Harris. Bottom 7, Judge hits his second home run of the game to make it 12-5 Yankees. 2 for 4 for Judge, couple homers, a walk, 4 RBIs. Hopefully, he's finally snapped out of it here. Bellinger goes 3 for 5, a double homer, 3 RBIs. Volpe goes 1 for 4 with a walk. He's been walking a lot lately. I like to see that. He's still getting on base. Grisham was 0 for 3, a couple of walks. Rice 0 for 2, a walk, hit by a pitch twice. And then Jazz Chisholm 2 for 4, a triple, homer, walk, and 4 RBIs in this 12-5 Yankees win. And that's where I want to start. I want to tip my cap right off the bat here to our pal Jazz Chisholm. Listen, man, Jazz Chisholm gets his 3rd tip of the cap this year. We are tipping our cap to him for a 3rd time this year. I talk a lot of shit on this guy because as much as I do like different personalities coming to the Yankees, it's frustrating when you're not healthy or when you're not producing and you're talking shit. At the end of the day, this guy's a productive player. The bat has been awesome. The power and the run production up there have been great. This series, in 3 games, he goes 4 for 12, couple of homers, the triple, and 5 total RBIs. Since his return from the DL, in 23 games, he's batting .328 with a .979 OPS, 11 extra base hits, 18 RBIs, which boosts his numbers. If you're watching the video format of the podcast here, you can see on the screen, his numbers on the season have been boosted to .242 with an .831 OPS, 13 home runs, 35 RBIs. That's the Jazz Chisholm the Yankees traded for, and that's who he's been ever since putting the Yankees uniform on. He stepped it up to another level, And, a couple of weeks ago when he returned, made some comments that may have rubbed some people the wrong way about him getting the best version out of himself when he's going 70%. He might have worded that incorrectly, and that's probably why it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. But I get what he was trying to say, and you could see it in a much more controlled swing at the plate. He's still swinging hard at pitches that are inside the zone, but you're also seeing some softer swings, and you're also seeing him do a better job staying inside the strike zone, and you're seeing those results come to fruition. The chase rate's much better this year. He's walking a lot more than he had in the past. Much more controlled swing, and it's such a smooth swing from that left side of the plate. Really producing great numbers from the Yankees. And this guy has just been super productive, and I just want to shout him out. A 1385 OPS for the series, and again, a 979 OPS this month since he's returned. So I will say I still think I think most of us prefer him at second base over third base long term. I understand maybe the value you get more out of his arm at third base, but I think the Yankees are playing him at third base so he can get reps right now in case they go after a second baseman at the deadline. I just don't think he's a great third baseman. I don't think he's a bad third baseman. I just don't think he is nearly as good as what he is at second base. He's one of the best second base gloves in the game when he's over there. But when he's at third base, the footwork is not the same. Mentally, you could tell it impacts him. Metrically, he's worse. At second base this season, he's got 3 defensive runs saved, 3 outs above average, and his fielding run value is 2. At third base this season, he's got -2 defensive runs saved, -3 outs above average, -2 fielding run value. Playing Jazz Chisholm at third base this consistently is not only making third base weaker, where you could just have Peraza over there or LeMahieu, it's also making second base weaker because Jazz is not over there, and you either have DJ, who I like to play at second base, who's got a weaker arm, and he can't really range much anymore. So you got two positions now that are not great. Like, the point of letting Gleyber Torres walk was to improve second base, and you could still be doing that if you had Jazz Chisholm at second base. The Yankees aren't doing that. You had another mishap at third base this series. We talked about it. We've been talking about it really last couple of weeks here on the show, but these relay plays that the Yankees struggle with, it continues to be a mess there, right? The Dodgers called this out, and you saw it pop up in the Fenway series, and you saw it pop up this series Friday with Winans on the mound. It's a ball hit to center field. Maybe it was Muncy who hits the ball. I forget who it was who hit it. Fly ball hit to center field. Bellinger fields it. First of all, Winans is covering the wrong bag. And then as Bellinger crow hops and gets into his throw, he's like mid-throw here. You see Jazz Chisholm still behind third base playing off, and he's in no man's land. Finally gets over to cover third base, but he's late to cover, never really gave Bellinger a target, and the throw goes behind him. And it's just, it's stuff like this that we always talk about, the fundamental shit. If Jazz is playing second base, a position he knows, as opposed to playing him out of position, where he doesn't know how to play those relay plays, I feel that doesn't happen. And that's what happened last year in the playoffs. And that's what the Dodgers called the Yankees out on. Talked about it to the media, on podcasts. It's stuff like that. It's not the fielding itself. Like, he makes some really good high upside plays, some highlight plays. But it's the fundamental in-between stuff that's not going to show up on the stat sheets that can't happen. But other than that, Jazz Chisholm has been so good. And he's been exactly what you want him to be. And as a Yankee, now this was a couple of days ago, but he's only been hotter since. He's got an OPS plus of 130. So he's been 30% better than the league average bat since coming over to the Yankees. Definitely Yankee Stadium is perfect for him. But what you like this year as opposed to what you saw last year, especially in the later games that he played with the team last year, is that he's not trying to force it as much. He's always going to be a guy who swings hard and hits home runs and strikes out. But again, the whole 70% thing, I go back to that. It does seem like there's been some kind of tweak in approach. And he's been really dynamic, very toolsy player, very, very toolsy. And it just makes you wonder if this guy's going to get extended at some point. You're hearing these talks start to ramp up on social media, at least between fans. Does Jazz Chisholm get extended, right? I believe he's got 2 more years on his deal before he's not a Yankee anymore. He's got this year and he's got next year before he can become an unrestricted free agent. And I think the only thing holding him back is that he's very injury prone, right? And I'm knocking on wood because hopefully he's okay, but we did have an injury scare today with the wrist. Looked really bad at first, ends up coming back into the game and seemingly fine, but I guess we'll find out tomorrow. But he's always hurt, right? Last year he got hurt. This year he was hurt about a month with the oblique. Well, was it oblique? Whatever it was, he was hurt. he's got an injury-prone history. That's probably the only thing holding him back. It's not his play. He's a very productive player. But extending him makes sense. This guy hits, he fields, he runs, he's a winning player, and he's a very marketable guy. Like, if you're the Yankees, you're Hal Steinbrenner, you're paying a brand name. You're paying a fan favorite, a guy with flair, a guy with personality. It would be a smart investment for the Yankees because Jazz is a star, right? He's a marketable player who brings in tickets, jersey sales. He makes you money. So I could see it in the future. Maybe it's not right now. The Yankees don't love to extend their players, but it's been done before. It was done with Aaron Hicks. Maybe at the end of the season, they get something done. But bottom line, it's great to see Jazz Chisholm be productive again. The guy he was before he went down earlier this season, completely different. Him being productive like this has been massive, and it's snapped the Yankee lineup back out of it, hopefully, because the Yankees needed a big 12-run game, right? They've been way too inconsistent lately offensively. It's going to happen. But yeah, they hadn't scored 10 plus since June 10th against the Royals. Saying that out loud now, I feel so spoiled. Like it's this month. See, you fall into the trap when you're on Twitter so much. Everybody's complaining. They make it feel like it's the worst thing in the world. Like listen, this is a good lineup, folks. It's a really good lineup. Like, contrary to popular belief, the Yankees are a really good, productive, powerful, consistent lineup. Like, they're scoring runs consistently on the whole. Recently, okay, you're hitting a stretch, which every team during a 162 will hit. But they've been consistent. And I think we read this stat a couple of episodes ago, but I want to go back to it because I have it updated. The Yankees have been held to 3 runs or less in 39% of their games this year. That's excluding today, which that means it's going to go down. So the Yankees have been held to 3 runs or less in 39% of this season's games. For those complaining about that, here is that same stat on the last 10 World Series champion offenses. Last year, the Dodgers scored 3 runs or less in 33% of their games. The year before, Texas, 39%. Houston, 44%. Atlanta, 39%. The Dodgers in 2020, 23%. The Nationals, 36%. Red Sox, 31%. Houston, 35%. Cubs, 35%. Dating all the way back to the Royals 10 years ago, 43%. So those numbers, in comparison to the Yankees' 39%, all in the same ballpark. Some more, some less. Low-scoring outings pop up, even on title teams, okay? Inconsistency, and I put inconsistency in quotes, over a 162 isn't a Yankees only issue. They're okay, guys. They're pretty good. Okay? It's not an inconsistent lineup. It's not a lineup that's just relying on Aaron Judge. I know that's another big narrative. I know Judge hit 2 home runs today, but the Yankees are now 6 for 15. They're 6 for 15 after Judge gets intentionally walked. Whether it's Ben Rice, Jazz Chisholm, Cody Bellinger, those lefties are producing in those spots when Judge gets the free pass. Jazz Chisholm has been an all-star caliber bat this year. Cody Bellinger, ever since his slow start, since May, he's been an all-star caliber bat this year. You know, Bellinger had another big series. He was 6 for 12, 4 RBIs. We've talked before how he's the perfect bat to put between Judge and Stanton, because you could take advantage of that 3-batter minimum rule. When they bring in a righty who throws sliders, you put Bellinger between them. Rice is still producing with power. Grisham is walking and he's hitting for power. It's a deep lineup. You've got 3 Yankees with the 120 WRC plus or higher. That's equal to or more than 26 other teams. So only the Dodgers, Tigers, Cubs, and Rays have more with 4 each. And that doesn't include Trent Grisham, which would make it 4 for the Yankees, only because he's not qualified with plate appearances. I also think Stanton can get to that level still. The bat speed's still there for him. And to be fair, you could say the same for some of these other teams, right? Unqualified players, injuries, traded players. But point being, it's a deeper lineup than you make it seem to be if you're one who criticizes them. It's a deeper lineup than we think. Yes, I still think they need one more fringe all-star type bat. I think that'd help a ton, especially get on the Dodgers level if that's who they're going to be facing when the Yankees win the American League this year. But it's a deep lineup that gets a little too much criticism sometimes. It's the reason, it's one of the bigger reasons the Yankees are in first place. Now, of course, there are weak points. Volpe's kind of been a weak point ever since that Fenway series, and Austin Wells is becoming another conversation that's getting louder and louder. You know, last episode we discussed a Ben Rice, Paul Goldschmidt platoon possibility. Maybe the conversation should be a Ben Rice, Austin Wells platoon, right? Now, one of my followers, and I appreciate you, Joy, reached out to me on Instagram, and I didn't think it was a good point, saying like maybe Austin Wells is struggling because he's not getting a ton of playing time. It could be that, but I also feel like we are at a point in the season where wins are becoming more paramount as we get closer to the second half. Maybe just play the better performer. You know, like Ben Rice is mashing righties this year. Austin Wells is mashing lefties this year. But it's been getting bad with Wells to a point where he's even taking that play out to the field with him. Like he had that blunder on Saturday where the Yankees let the game get away. There's that pop-up to the infield. Wells needs to be aggressive there and lay out for that. He lets it drop. Nobody gets there. And at that point, once the ball drops, you probably should let it roll to see if it goes foul or fair. Grabs the ball, makes a dumb throw, and it's just a fuck fest of an inning. And then you take into account that he's just not hitting consistently enough. Right? Like, he had a poor start to the year where in his first 22 games, he posted a 673 OPS. Then he got hot in his next 14, 887 OPS. Cooled off again in his next 11, had a 502 OPS. Got hot again in his next 10 with a 1071 OPS. And then he's been cooling off again lately, where in his last dozen games, he's got a 361 OPS. It's been really bad lately. And so we're at a point where the bad is lasting too long. There's too much of the bad, and the good's not there enough. The power and production has been there. Like, he's got 45 RBIs. That's no joke for a catcher. He's got 13 doubles, 11 home runs. That's no joke for a catcher. A 424 slug is no joke for a catcher. So there is power there, but the consistency is not nearly enough. The 214 average, the 275 on base percentage, that's abysmal. A 30% K rate, that's not like him. Or chase rate, rather. A 30% chase rate. That last year he was not chasing. He's walking less because he's chasing. He's walking less than 7% of the time. That's not like him. Against right-handed pitchers, 188 average, 616 OPS. Ben Rice, we're getting to a point with Wells and Rice where Rice got the start twice over Austin Wells at catcher this series. He's playing better overall. He's coming alive again. The metrics with Ben Rice remain off the charts. He's mashing right-handed pitching. He's hitting .258 with an .871 OPS against righties. And he looks fine behind the dish so far. Not really been tested against a running team, but if Rice keeps hitting, you got to keep playing him, because not only will it benefit the Yankees, but if he's going to be used as a trade chip this deadline, it's going to be important to give him those reps and play him every day and showcase him. You could even make a case that JC Escara is deserving of more playing time at this point with the way he's been playing. He's also an elite framer, which is Austin Wells' whole calling card. He's caught 4 shutouts this season. He's got a smooth left-handed swing. He has a .753 OPS in 77 plate appearances, 31 games. So I'm not saying I'm giving up on Austin Wells. Long term, I still think Austin Wells is going to be a good hitter. But a little competition wouldn't be bad to wake him up right now. You start sitting him a little bit more, play Rice, you play your third string catcher in Escara. Think that maybe sends a sign to like, Wells, hey, snap out of it. Let's get your shit together. And he's a streaky hitter. He's always been a streaky hitter, right? Last year started slow, got hot middle of the summer, cooled off at the end of the year. But it's just felt like this year, there was never really a point where he was consistently getting on base. And that needs to tick up, because that was him last year. He was getting on base. Let's tip our caps some more. Let's go to the mound. Okay? And let's go all the way back to the first game of the series on Friday and tip our cap to Will Warren. I thought Will Warren was the best starting pitcher of the series. Not going to give it to Clark because it came in a loss. And Stroman, 1 strikeout, 1 run. But Will Warren on Friday, 5 innings, no runs, 7 strikeouts, 2 hits, 4 walks, no home runs, 100 pitches, gets the win. Looks good, man. You know, he got into that first inning jam. He walked 3 batters, 4-seam fastball kind of out of the zone. But he escaped it. And he escaped it because he's a kid with good stuff. You know, he's got Butler on first base, gets Wilson to strike out swinging. He goes 2-seamer running in at 94. Then he gets Brent Rooker to strike out looking, 2-seam backdoor. And then he goes back to that. He goes bases loaded. He's got bases loaded, 2 outs. Gio Urshela's at the plate. He gets him to strike out on a backdoor 2-seamer. So that pitch helped him escape the first inning. And then the rest of his outing, he went to the 4-seamer, the changeup, the sweeper. That helped him really get through and get some strikeouts. Better against lefties in this start. A's lefties were 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. Also got a ton of soft contact and some whiffs with that changeup on left-handed hitters. We know he's got a good pitch mix to righties, right? He misses a ton of bats with that 4-seam and sweeper combination. 2-seamer, he can play it to both sides because he can backdoor or run it inside on your hands. But overall, he continues to just really look solid. He's fooling a ton of hitters. 30% K rate this year, which is 89th percentile. 103 strikeouts overall, which was 8th in the American League, and it's first among all rookies. He's having a really strong season. He's got a 4.37 ERA on the year, and it's felt a lot better than that because it's just that Dodgers start that really implodes it. But yeah, you asked me after last year when he posted a 10 ERA across whatever starts, that Will Warren would have a 4.37 and be leading the American League in strikeouts or 8th in the American League in strikeouts. I am taking that and sprinting like Usain Bolt with it. I think Will Warren's been really good for a number 5 rookie. And I think anybody who is upset with what he's done should probably take a step back and realize what else is out there and realize how spoiled you are. So yeah, Will Warren, tipping my cap to you. 7th time this year where we're tipping our cap to Will Warren. Excuse me. And then let's go to the bullpen to wrap this one up. Let's go to the bullpen and tip our cap to the lefty, Tim Hill. For the fourth time this year, we will tip our cap to Tim Hill. Got to give the guy credit. He's been on a good run. Only one earned run allowed since May 23rd against the Rockies. So that's his last 16 appearances. Continues to throw strikes, get ground balls. He's a really tough pitcher to pick up because of that arm slot. I'm at a point where Tim Hill is back on my trust tree. You know, there was a time where I was pretty out on him, but I trust him to get ground balls. Ground balls just sometimes find holes, right? He's a guy who does not throw hard. Doesn't mean he pitches to contact because he doesn't throw hard. And so when you pitch to contact and you throw soft, you're going to yield weak ground balls. Sometimes dribblers are going to find their way into the outfield. That's the only issue. You're kind of playing a 50-50 game. It's kind of the Clay Holmes effect. But he's been good. And in this series, Tim Hill, 2 innings, no runs, 1 hit, 1 strikeout. On Friday, he relieves Will Warren in the 6th with a 3-0 lead. He gives up the ground ball single to Kurtz, but then he gets Urshela to ground into a double play off of a sinker. And then he gets Blade to strike out looking, going with a fastball upstairs. And that was his night. And then on Sunday today, he replaces Johnny Loizaga in the 7th inning with a 10-5 lead. Gets Blade to ground out to Goldschmidt on 6 pitches. 7-pitch at-bat to Rooker. Gets him to hit it right back to the mound for a ground ball out. And then he gets Kurtz to fly out to Dominguez off 2 pitches. So, again, not going to miss bats, but he's going to get outs. And at the end of the day, Tim Hill has done a nice job doing that. So, good for him. Folks, that's pretty much all we got with this series. The Yanks find themselves a little bit against the A's, winning 2 out of 3. And a big road stand coming up next for them. They got 4 division games against the Blue Jays this week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You got the Toronto Jays, who have been winning a little bit lately. They're in 3rd place. Good opportunity for the Yankees to gain some ground. And then after Toronto, you got 3 Subway Series games against the Mets on 4th of July weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So, big road stand. Road stand, quote unquote. But yeah, I think the goal here, 7 games, Jays, Mets. The goal here should be to go 5-2. Ideally, you take 3 out of 4 from the Jays and 2 out of 3 from Queens. You know, I'm not confident enough yet in their recent play that they can get there. But we'll see. Maybe this is the start of a hot streak, and you do have Fried and Rodon due up this week against the Jays. So that should help you in this 4-game set at the very least. But yeah, that's what's up next. We will wrap this one up with our trivia question when we return in just a few seconds. Be right back here on BD4, episode 880.
Quick break here, guys. Stay connected with BD4 on social media. Follow us on Instagram and X at BD4Pod, and find us on Facebook by searching BD4. Don't miss out. Join the conversation. Want more BD4? Subscribe to our YouTube channel and never miss an episode. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and share with your fellow fans. Don't forget to ring that bell so you're always the first to know when a new video drops. Love BD4 but don't have the time to sit down and watch? Don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify so you never miss an episode. And if you're enjoying the show, leave us a 5-star rating and a quick review. It helps us grow and keeps the conversation going. Want everything BD4 in one place? Head to our website at bd4blog.com. You'll find links to every podcast platform, social media, and even our blog, where we dive deeper into all things BD4. Check it out now and stay connected.
Okay. Episode 880 here. Let's wrap this one up with our trivia question of the day. Which former Yankee holds the franchise record for most 150-game seasons? All right, so that's most seasons with 150-plus games played. Which former Yankee holds the franchise record for most 150-game seasons? Let me know the answer. Wherever you can reach me, I'll give you a shout-out in the next show if you get the answer correct. I'm starting to slur my words, which means I'm tired and I need some water. So I'm going to head out. Appreciate you all for tuning in. Yanks take 2 out of 3 from the A's. Hopefully, it's finally the start of some consistency again, and we can get back to where we should be. So, see you after this Toronto series, most likely. Appreciate you all tuning in. Later. Go Yanks. Well, if you made it this far, that means you listened to or watched the entire episode. Thank you. Just remember to follow, subscribe, download, rate and review, and all that fun stuff to help out the podcast. And I will see you in the next episode of BD4.